Hello, and welcome back to the Planning Pulse podcast. With me for a very special episode this week is Sarah Strother. Sarah, I'm fired up to have you back. I know that you've been on the podcast a few times, so I won't have you do a formal introduction, but maybe as a shout out back to our Halloween episode in 2024, I may ask you,
Yep.
before we dive into the content for today, top three favorite candy bars. Go.
Okay, they're not really candy bars, but candy I'll give you. Top of the
Okay.
list is Rips. Got to start with the sour candy.
Okay. Okay.
But they're a little hard to find, but very exciting when you do stumble on them. Nerd gummy clusters. And then I know it's a hot take, but sweet tarts. It's just straight sugar. So pretty
Well,
good.
I've never heard of Rips before,
You're missing out.
and so it sounds like if I had to group your favorite candies, it's all sour like gummies. It's definitely not your Reese's or chocolate candy
No, I'm
bars or
not
anything like
not
that.
really the chocolate.
Okay. Well, you and I are a little bit different in that regard. I'm definitely the Kit Kat Big Cat or the Reese's.
Mm.
Reese's is probably my favorite, of course. But I digress. Today we are talking all about dimensions. We're taking a step back from our mini series that we've been going through for the last several episodes, whether it's workforce planning, sales planning, integration. We've heard from a lot of our listeners who say, we're getting into budgeting season. We want to get some tips and tricks for what we can do within our existing environment. Today, we're going to be talking about dimensions and attributes. Attributes being the way that we can group like dimensions. When we think of dimensions, we can think of it like product, like Sarah likes, nerd, was it gummy clusters and Rips? I like Reese's and Snickers and Twix. Those are different dimensions for us or products. We think of attributes as a way of grouping those products. We have our sour gummy candy that Sarah likes for some reason. Then we've got the chocolate bars that I like. That's just another way for us to group those different categories. So, Sarah, talk to me a little bit about how your customers are utilizing dimensions and attributes in their existing environments today.
Yeah. So it's twofold. The first piece, which is really the foundation of where it all begins, is going to be the modeling side. So as we're building out a planning model, what is the additional detail or granularity we want to add to that data? So for example, on the revenue planning side, things like product that we're planning for, or if we think of
Mhm.
personnel related things like the employee type, the position status, the compensation grade. So really just a variety of different tags. And then those attributes give us a way to then, if we're thinking of reporting, group those together. So maybe if I'm thinking of product, I don't want to see it down to the individual products. I want to see that grouping. So back to the example of candy, I want to see it aggregated up to chocolate, sour candy, gummies, whatever it may be. Um,
Mhm.
with that, though, in reporting, you still have those drill down capabilities. So we can still get to that granular detail, but we have the option to also aggregate it as needed.
Yeah. And when you say the drill down capability and the aggregate, a lot of times you think of drill down as historic information too. Like we're looking at historic product sales by those different dimensions or that attribute as well. But it's also a way for us to plan data going forward too, right? So
Mhm.
if we have
Exactly.
historic product volume, we can take that and then look at forward-looking product volume
Mhm.
as well. So, Sarah, how easy is it to set up something like dimensions or attributes in an existing environment? Can customers do that on their own?
They can. So there's two ways. One is you can manually go add it in. The other is there are import capabilities. And so what I like to talk to my clients about is really part of it is personal preference of which route you like to take. And for each person, the volume of how many you want to manually add up to your discretion. I personally, if I'm adding more than like 5 or 6 values, go the import
Hmm.
route. I likely already have some sort of offline list. So all I have to do is pop it into a template, push it in, and then I'm good to go. Or the manual one, it's truly you click a button, type in a name, press save, and you're
Yeah,
good.
and I think the same sort of goes for really any activity. When we think about bringing in data to a sheet or bringing in personnel into your personnel model, bringing in dimensional values,
Mhm.
the way that we would recommend doing that is based on the volume that you're looking to do. If it's just a handful, if it's just a couple, it's probably more efficient for you to go in and just do that one-off ad. But maybe let's go in and, if you don't mind, popping up an instance of adaptive, and let's walk in and show folks what it's like to add a dimension or dimension value or attribute value.
Perfect. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay. So here we can look at our existing product list. So again, these are going to be our dimensions in the system. And for those of you guys in Adaptive, likely familiar with, over on the far right side, we can see our dimension attributes. So what I'm able to see is for a specific, in this case, product, what are the tags that we have? So I have group, I have color, I have size. Looking at that, we now want to be able to add an additional layer. So I want to be able to see my product list by something like product family. To do that, we need to actually first develop an attribute. So what I'll do is I'm going to navigate back into modeling and come down to dimension attributes. The first thing that's maybe a little bit different about the attribute area is just navigating how do we add it to our correct dimension. So we're going to select it up in our top left-hand corner. I'm going to I'll see. So here's our group, our color, and our size. From there, we're going to use the buttons up along that top toolbar. So right now, I'm creating a new attribute. So you can think of attribute as the bucket. Right next to it is then the attribute value. That's going to be the individual values within it. So first, to create the bucket, we'll have our product family. One thing to note is you'll notice I didn't put a space in that code. What that allows us to do is in the future, if we ever needed to reference that in some sort of formula, we can't have any sort of spaces or special characters. So best practice would be to either take out the spaces or put underscores in that. From there, the one other thing, again, personal preference, I like to do is check keep sorted. Really depends on what we're working with, of do we want an alphabetical list or you want some sort of custom sort. And then from there, I'm going to come over and start to add my values. So here we'll have product family A. Copy that just to make the next one a little bit quicker. Same process though, so add value and press save. The same would be true of, let's say we have an existing attribute that we want to update. Instead of starting by creating a new attribute, we would just go ahead and click directly on the attribute. So maybe we have a new color. Now we have purple. I can come click on color, add in purple. It's now available for me. Once that's now set up, you'll notice I don't have any of those blue dots telling me that it's in use, which makes sense because we haven't mapped it to anything. So what we'll do is go back into modeling, come over to my dimensions. Right now, we're just going to tag a handful, so I'm going to manually do it. Open up my product dimension, and where previously in our attributes, we only had a list of 3, you'll see that product family is now available, so I can come and map. So just press that drop down, select the value. If you do have a longer list, you can also filter and sort. So A was maybe not the best search, but if I were to get A, for example, it'll pull, here's the one that's save and map, and then repeat that process. If you do have a large volume, what you can do is come up to the top. There's 2 ways. One is you can take a printable view of what's currently in there, map it, and leverage that file. I will say if you're going to do that, go ahead and filter this list down to that given dimension so that you just have, here's the however many values I need to populate. The other option would be to leverage our import dimension structure. And the main call out here is make sure that you're on that update and append option. We want to make sure that anytime, all that we're doing right now, again, is we're just updating the information or the tags on those values. Remove would actually remove any sort of unused dimension value, and reload will never click. So all that to say,
absolutely.
it's on the default. Just make sure you keep it.
Yeah, 100%. And Sarah, one of the things that I think that I would recommend is if you're coming in and you are unsure about deleting or uploading or appending, reach out to your Ikorio project team, even if you don't have an active engagement. But if there's somebody that you worked with, or if you just want a little bit of help for something like this, more than happy to hop on and walk you through what that can look like. So, Sarah, I appreciate you walking us through adding, attributes to dimensions. We think of, again, dimensions ways for us to further define our data set, right? Units by product or states or customers by state, something like that, or customers by a region. Attributes is a way for us to group those like dimensions. So we think back to the candy example, chocolate candy versus sour candy. Just a really good way for us to be able to do an alternate reporting structure, alternate reporting hierarchy. So, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on today and walking through dimensions attributes. Anything that you want to leave our listeners with?
No, I think really just to echo your point, if you guys ever need any sort of help or you get stuck or sometimes it can be a little daunting of a task to get in there, please reach out. We're all happy to help.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for hopping on with us today, Sarah. We are going to be continuing going through some tips and tricks, getting you all ready for budget season. You can look for our next episode next week. You can plan on it.